Do you still remember the breathtaking battles and tearful love stories in The Last of the Mohicans back in 1992? Behind the spotlight, the stars who contributed to the film's success faced heartbreaking tragedies. Addiction, unexpected accidents, and pressure that led to failed suicide attempts. Let's explore the truth and honor the legacy they left behind. Let's dive in. Maurice Rouves as Colonel Edmund Munro. John Maurice Rouves, born on March 19, 1937, was a Scottish actor with more than 120 roles spanning decades. When he joined The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, he was 55 years old, portraying Colonel Edmund Munro, the commander of Fort William Henry and the father of Cora and Alice, contributing to the profound tragedy in the heart-wrenching scenes of the fort's siege and collapse. With his strong voice and dignified presence, Rouves depicted a steadfast father who was powerless before the cruel fate of his family. However, off-screen, Maurice Rouves experienced bitter challenges early on when he had to quit school to help his father support the family, then entered military service in the Royal Scots Greys, where he worked as a tank mechanic. After returning to civilian life and starting a stage career, he rose to fame with the role of Stephen Dedalus in Ulysses, 1967. But during this period, his first marriage collapsed in bitterness. Ongoing conflicts with his ex-wife and distance from his children created many lonely nights, forcing Rouves to find solace in acting, though it could never fully heal his private pain. In the following years, Rouves continued to make his mark in The Eagle Has Landed, 1976, and Hidden Agenda, 1990, but he sank deeper into stress as his family fractures grew worse. Although audiences continued to praise him as a symbol of strong, righteous roles, behind the scenes, Rouves struggled with loneliness and feelings of abandonment, retreating into a cold shell for many years. In the final years of his life, Rouves' health deteriorated significantly, and he lived almost alone in Edinburgh, keeping in touch only occasionally with old colleagues and a few loyal fans. On July 14, 2020, Maurice Rouves passed away at the age of 83 after a long battle with illness, closing a life filled with tragedy. He left behind an estimated net worth of about $1 million USD, including a modest house in Edinburgh and a luxury car collection. Russell Means as Chingachgook. Russell Charles Means, born on November 10, 1939, was a political activist, actor, and Native American icon. When he joined The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, at 53 years old, he played Chingachgook, the strong father of Uncas, and also the last of the Mohicans, bringing fight scenes and emotional moments that left a deep impression on audiences, especially when he declared himself the last living descendant of an entire people. But behind the cinematic spotlight, Means's personal life was filled with deep, unhealed wounds. He grew up in poverty, moving from Pine Ridge to San Francisco, with a childhood overshadowed by family violence and an alcoholic father. He soon fell into a spiral of theft, drugs, and years of recklessness, and lost hearing in one ear after a misdiagnosis at the Rosebud Reservation, adding to his bitterness. Although he became a pioneering face of the Native American movement, he failed in his first 4 marriages and was always torn between his political activism and the responsibilities of being a father to 10 children. When he took on the role of Powhatan in Pocahontas, 1995, Means was struggling with legal troubles after being arrested for assaulting his father-in-law, an event that seriously damaged his political credibility. He continued to fight for Native rights but had to endure enormous pressure, leading to later years filled with exhaustion and family conflict. Relatives once reproached him for dedicating too much energy to community work while neglecting his own home. In 2011, Russell Means was diagnosed with advanced stage esophageal cancer, initially optimistic thanks to alternative therapies, but quickly declined as his health worsened. On October 22, 2012, he took his last breath at age 72, closing a journey full of tragedy, yet brimming with courage. Russell was cremated, and his ashes were scattered across the sacred Black Hills region, leaving behind an estimated net worth of about 500,000 USD, mainly from his house in Porcupine, a small amount compared to the indomitable legacy he left for future generations of Native Americans. Pete Postlethwaite as Captain Beams. Peter William Postlethwaite, born on February 7, 1946, in Warrington, England, was hailed as one of the finest supporting actors in the world. In 1992, when he was 46 years old, he took on the role of Captain Beams in The Last of the Mohicans, a British officer who appeared in crucial military scenes at the fort. Although the role was not lengthy, it was memorable thanks to his authentic and deeply layered performance. Behind the talent that Steven Spielberg once praised as the best actor in the world, Postlethwaite endured heavy personal crises. As early as 1990, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer and had to have one removed, carrying a lifelong anxiety about his health. His first marriage ended bitterly, leaving psychological wounds that were hard to heal, especially as he had to face advanced-stage pancreatic cancer alone. While filming In the Name of the Father, 1993, Postlethwaite was still recovering emotionally from family upheaval, yet poured all his energy into portraying Giuseppe Conlon, a wronged father, a role that nearly mirrored his own real-life pain. Although his career seemed to soar with The Usual Suspects, 1995, it ran parallel with financial struggles. As Postlethwaite admitted, he was not good at managing money, often wrestling with debts and the burden of providing for his children. His smoking habit, which began at the age of 10, further deteriorated his health, leaving family members despairing as they watched him lose alarming amounts of weight in his final months. The tough characters he played on screen could never fully ease the emotional emptiness and pressure weighing on Postlethwaite's mind, as he essentially had to keep acting just to race against his illness. On January 2, 2011, Peter Postlethwaite took his last breath at 64 years old, closing a journey marked by tragedy, yet also by incredible passion. He left behind an estimated net worth of about $2 million USD, including a peaceful home in Shropshire and a classic car collection. A modest legacy compared to the love of art and the legendary roles to which he devoted his entire life. Patrice Sherro as General Montcalm. Patrice Sherro, born on November 2, 1944 in Lézigné, France, was a director, actor, and producer admired worldwide. In 1992, when he was 47 years old, he appeared in The Last of the Mohicans as General Louis-Joseph de Montcalm, the French commander during the siege of Fort William Henry, a role with substantial screen time that helped portray the tragic dimension of the colonial conflict. Although he was honored with numerous major awards, such as the Cannes Jury Prize and the Berlin Golden Bear, Sherro faced extremely painful personal struggles. From the time he stepped into professional theater at 19, he had to sacrifice many personal relationships to pursue creative ideals, leading to long-lasting heartbreaks and leaving a deep loneliness. During the production of La Reine Margot, 1994, Sherro had to overcome a severe emotional crisis after the end of a tense romantic relationship, a scar that weighed on him for years afterward. While running the Nanterre Amandiers Theatre, Sherro poured all his passion into the hard-hitting works of Jean Genet and Bernard-Marie Coltès, but the intense workload itself exhausted him physically and mentally. When lung cancer emerged later in life, it pushed him further into despair, while his personal relationships once again fell into tension, forcing Sherro to spend his final days battling illness and facing his own solitude. On October 7, 2013, Patrice Sherro passed away at the age of 68, closing a life that was deeply marked by artistic brilliance, but also by tragedy and loss. His estimated net worth was around 10 million USD, including a luxurious home in Paris and a valuable art collection, items reflecting his endless passion, though they could never fill the emotional void left after such a harsh journey of living and creating. Dennis Banks as Ongi Was Gone. Dennis J. Banks, born on April 12, 1937, at the Leech Lake Reservation in Minnesota, was a legendary activist, author, and teacher with profound influence. In 1992, when he was 55 years old, he appeared in The Last of the Mohicans as On-Gewis Gone, a supporting character who carried the breath of native heritage, shown in several key scenes to affirm the voice of the community he had represented through a lifetime of struggle. From childhood, Dennis experienced the pain of being forcibly removed from his family and traditional culture at the age of 5, sent to a government boarding school meant to erase native identity. The teenage years stripped of language and ceremonies left him with wounds that could never fully heal, pushing him to run away several times and then join the Air Force to escape, only to be dishonorably discharged for desertion. After serving jail time for a minor theft, Dennis returned to his ideals of fighting for native rights and became one of the founders of the American Indian movement. But that very choice also fractured his personal life. As the movement grew, Dennis had to sacrifice nearly all his time to protests, which led to a string of broken marriages and children who grew up in chaos, distant from their father. During the time he lent his voice through the role of On-Gewis Gone, he was still struggling to maintain relationships with his many children, some of whom were born from conflicted romances. Even after his political successes, Dennis faced scandals over his relationship with Darlene Kamook-Nichols, which complicated his personal image further, especially as he was criticized for neglecting family responsibilities. In his final years, Dennis suffered from heart disease and underwent surgery, but complications from pneumonia took his life on October 29, 2017, at the age of 80. He left behind a net worth of about $1 million USD, including a modest house at Leech Lake and a valuable collection of native cultural artifacts, a testament to a lifetime of unending struggle, but also filled with bitterness and loneliness, reflecting the many burdens carried by a true civil rights warrior. Daniel DayLewis as Hawkeye. Sir Daniel Michael Blake. DayLewis, born on April 29, 1957 in London, is a global acting icon praised for winning 3 Academy Awards. In 1992, when he was 35 years old, he took on the role of Hawkeye, Nathaniel Bumppo, in The Last of the Mohicans, an adopted son of the Mohican tribe who leads the mission to protect Cora and Alice throughout the film, with action and romance scenes that have become legendary in cinema history. Behind his calm exterior and masterful talent, DayLewis carried no shortage of personal storms. As a teenager, he was unstable, frequently caught shoplifting, and labeled a troublemaker, growing up under the pressure of a rich cultural legacy and the obsessive perfectionism of a method actor. His extreme dedication to roles took a toll on his romantic life, especially his 6-year relationship with actress Isabelle Adjani, which ended in controversy and left behind a son whom he rarely mentions publicly. Nevertheless, DayLewis rose to brilliant heights in his career, pushing further with In the Name of the Father, 1993, even while the heartbreak of that breakup still weighed on him, and later found greater peace with Rebecca Miller, daughter of playwright Arthur Miller, with whom he had 2 more children. However, the crushing pressure from his intense method acting, notably during Lincoln, 2012, left him exhausted many times, leading to his decision to retire permanently in 2017, seeking an escape from the relentless expectations of the public and to regain mental balance. Now, at the age of 68, Sir Daniel DayLewis lives a fairly quiet life between 2 homes in Manhattan, USA, and County Wicklow, Ireland, occasionally engaging in artistic activities as a mentor or cultural ambassador. His estimated net worth is around $50 million USD, along with a valuable collection of classic cars, reflecting an extraordinary legacy of success, but also deep reflection, from an artist who has always carried within him a profound solitude and a burning, unrelenting passion. Meline Stowe as Cora Monroe. Meline Stowe, born on August 18, 1958 in Los Angeles, was one of the most talented and captivating actresses of the 1990s. In 1992, when she was 34 years old, she took on the role of Cora Monroe in The Last of the Mohicans, the courageous daughter of Colonel Monroe and the woman who captured Hawkeye's heart, appearing throughout the film in both action-packed and deeply romantic scenes. Off-screen, Stowe had to face no shortage of personal challenges. Her marriage to Brian Benben, which began in 1982, was not immune to cracks, especially as she tried to juggle a demanding acting schedule with the responsibilities of motherhood. During the filming of Shortcuts, 1993, the film that earned her the National Society of Film Critics Award for Best Supporting Actress, Stowe shared that she had to bury many feelings of loneliness, as long shoots left her with little time to care for her family. Her career continued to rise with 12 Monkeys, 1995, but the enormous pressures of major roles and public expectations brought Stowe significant mental stress. Although she maintained her marriage to Benben and raised their daughter together, she once admitted to feeling unbalanced, leading her to choose a quieter life in recent years to find peace again. By 2025, Meline Stowe is 67 years old, living in the historic Chickasaw Gardens neighborhood of Memphis, Tennessee, and occasionally participating in charity work through the Artists for Peace and Justice Foundation. She owns a net worth of around $15 million USD, along with a luxurious home in Los Angeles, a well-deserved reward after a long, eventful but impactful career as an icon of American beauty and talent on screen. Wes Studi as Magua. Wes Studi, born on December 17, 1947, is a legend of Native American cinema. In 1992, when he was 44 years old, he played Magua in The Last of the Mohicans. The bloodthirsty Huron warrior obsessed with revenge, a truly memorable villain brought to life through intense and dramatic battle scenes, becoming an immortal symbol of the epic film genre. Behind the spotlight, Studi experienced many personal losses. 2 broken marriages left him with deep wounds, including distance from his children because of a demanding career and relentless dedication to his craft. During the filming of Geronimo, An American Legend, 1993, he spoke about family fractures that forced him to shoulder both emotional pressures and the heavy burden of being one of the few recognized Native American actors in Hollywood. As his career continued to flourish with The New World, 2005, Studi still struggled to balance his private life, torn between a passion for acting and his worries about his role as a father and lingering family conflicts. He once admitted to feeling exhausted, having to fight stereotypes while also preserving Cherokee cultural identity in an entertainment industry that was often uncomprehending. By 2025, at 78 years old, Wes Studi is living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, with his current wife, still dedicated to the arts and the preservation of Native heritage. His net worth is estimated at around $1 million USD, including a cozy home and a valuable collection of Native American artifacts, a testament to a lifetime of battles fought, not only on screen but in real life, through chapters that were never easy. Eric Schweig as Uncas. Eric Schweig, born on June 19, 1967, made a powerful impression on the silver screen when he played Uncas, the son of Chingachgook, in The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, at only 25 years old. This idealistic young warrior left a deep mark through fierce fight scenes and a tragic love story, making Schweig a bright face of 1990s cinema. However, behind the glory, Eric's life was shadowed by darkness. Coming from Canada's forced adoption program, he carried memories of being separated from his family and Inuit roots, growing up in cold foster homes, leading to a youth of inner conflict, violence, and alcoholism. This battle continued for years, especially after the success of The Broken Chain, 1993, when Schweig admitted he sank deeper into addiction from the pressure of fame and a loneliness that could not be filled. During the filming of Skins, 2002, he tried to quit drinking and rediscover himself through Inuit mask carving, as a way to heal a wounded spirit. But the psychological scars from childhood always made him struggle, combined with a short-lived, broken marriage that left regrets about a complete family he never had. By 2025, at 58 years old, Eric Schweig has stepped away from the spotlight, choosing to live peacefully with his two adopted children in Vancouver, Canada, and focusing on creating in his carving studio. His net worth is estimated at about $1 million USD, including a house and a native art collection, proof of a resilient journey of a heart once shattered, but still yearning for love and belonging. Jodie May as Alice Munro. Jodie May, born on May 8, 1975, left a lasting impression on audiences when she played Alice Munro, a gentle young woman with a tragic fate in The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, at just 17 years old. Her character appeared in many deeply emotional scenes, especially the heartbreaking final sequence of the film, showcasing May's remarkable talent from a very young age. However, behind the spotlight, Jodie's life was not easy. Coming from a multicultural family with a French-Turkish mother and a German father, she carried many questions about her identity. Although she achieved great success as early as age 12 by winning Best Actress at Cannes for A World Apart, 1988, early fame brought with it heavy pressures, causing her to go through multiple unfulfilled relationships and long periods of loneliness. When she acted in Sister My Sister, 1994, and later Aristocrats, 1999, May was still praised for her subtle performances, but behind it, she struggled to balance her artistic passion with the responsibilities of being a single mother. Public scrutiny only made her choose a more private life, limiting media appearances to protect her and her child's privacy. In 2025, at 50 years old, Jodie May continues to dedicate herself to independent artistic projects, focusing on screenwriting and small-scale films rather than chasing fame. Her estimated net worth is around $3 million USD, with a house in London and a few luxury cars, the result of a steady journey that reaffirms her belief in genuine artistic value despite all the storms in her personal life. Stephen Waddington as Major Duncan Hayward. Stephen Waddington, born on December 30, 1967, made his mark as Major Duncan Hayward in The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, when he was just 23 years old. His character was an English officer deeply in love with Cora, appearing in many intense action and romantic scenes, contributing significantly to the film's story. But behind the strong image on screen, Waddington's life experienced plenty of turmoil. His first marriage ended bitterly, leaving deep psychological wounds that took him years to heal. Even as his career blossomed with Edward II, 1991, and later Ivanhoe, 1997, Waddington had to fight off feelings of loneliness and the pressure of high expectations placed on a young, ambitious actor. Entering the 2000s, with appearances in The Parole Officer, 2001, and Boudica, 2003, he tried to rekindle his passion for acting, but his private life remained troubled due to the pressures of raising two children in a separated family. These struggles made Waddington choose a more discreet lifestyle, steering clear of showbiz scandals, focusing on his love of vintage motorcycle collecting, and spending time with the people who truly mattered to him. Today, at 57 years old, Stephen Waddington still participates in some film and television projects, though his top priority is his family and peaceful life in Yorkshire. His net worth is estimated at around $2 million USD, with a modest home and a valuable motorcycle collection, enough for him to enjoy a simpler, more complete life after so many ups and downs. Colum Meanie as Major Ambrose. Colum Meanie, born on May 30, 1953 in Dublin, Ireland, is remembered worldwide for his role as Major Ambrose in The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, when he was 39 years old. Although his character did not have much screen time, it still contributed to the bigger picture of the film's historical conflict. Beyond Mohicans, Meanie's film and television career is truly impressive, spanning from Miles O'Brien in Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine to outstanding film roles in The Snapper, Layer Cake, The Damned United, and Con Air. He also made a name for himself on the West End and Broadway stages, with highlights including A Moon for the Misbegotten and The Iceman Cometh. Meanie's personal life was not free of turmoil. His first marriage to actress Barbara Dowling ended in divorce in 1994, leaving emotional scars even though he and Dowling had a daughter together, Brenda, who is now also an actress. Later, Meanie found happiness with his second wife, costume designer Ines Glorian, and they have another daughter named Ada. At 72 years old in 2025, colum Meanie has an estimated net worth of around $10 million USD, including a home in Los Angeles and a collection of vintage cars. A testament to a resilient career and a life that overcame many challenges. Terry Kinney as John Cameron. Terry Kinney, born on January 29, 1954 in Lincoln, Illinois, took on the role of John Cameron in The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, when he was 38 years old. This was a supporting character appearing in scenes recreating the colonial setting, helping to highlight the intense conflicts of that era. Kinney, who was one of the founders of Steppenwolf Theater Company, brought a calm yet deeply layered performance to this epic film. In his personal life, however, Terry Kinney faced far more storms than on stage or on screen. His first marriage to actress Elizabeth Perkins ended quickly after just 4 years, leaving him with painful wounds around trust and emotions. The stresses of married life, combined with the career pressures after his success in Edward II in the early 1990s, pushed Kinney into a state of crisis. He even had to step away from the stage due to a severe panic attack during a performance of Buried Child in 1996. When he later found love with Catherine Erb, his co-star from the series Oz, Kinney seemed to have found peace, but 12 years together ended in divorce in 2005. The arguments, exhaustion from their equally demanding work schedules, and the strain on their relationship could not be repaired. Kinney remained close to his 2 children after the split, but could not escape feelings of loss and emptiness, especially as his career peaked with the role of McManus in Oz, which brought him both fame and immense pressure. After many storms, Terry Kinney gradually pulled back, choosing a quiet lifestyle in New York City, focusing on directing theater and taking on television roles that felt more manageable. He did not fall into addictions, but the heartbreaks and burdens of marriage forced him to find a way to rebalance his life. Today, at 71 years old, he continues to contribute to the arts, with an estimated net worth of around $4 million USD, most of it tied to a luxurious home in New York, a testament to his resilient spirit in overcoming private pain and dedicating himself wholeheartedly to American theater. David Schofield as Sergeant Major. David Schofield, born on December 16, 1951 in Manchester, played Sergeant Major in The Last of the Mohicans, 1992, when he was 41 years old. Although just a supporting character in military scenes, Schofield left a mark with his solid performance, adding depth to the historical backdrop of this epic film. Coming from a large working-class family, he worked his way through many theater stages before breaking into film. But behind that success was a personal life full of turmoil. His first marriage collapsed after years of conflict, leaving him with a deep sense of emptiness and pain, especially during the struggle over child custody. The heavy demands of film shoots, particularly during his breakout in An American Werewolf in London, 1981, drained time away from his family, widening the emotional distance. He once admitted that his schedule and career helped push his private life to a dead end. In the years after the divorce, Schofield kept working in film, but carried a constant worry about his relationship with his children. Even though audiences fondly remember him from Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Man's Chest, 2006. In reality, he was fighting to regain emotional balance after personal breakdowns. Feelings of loneliness and doubt surrounded him, making him choose a quiet lifestyle, rarely appearing in the media and avoiding high-pressure roles. At 74 years old, David Schofield has now found peace in simple pleasures, like collecting vintage motorcycles at his home in Manchester. His net worth is estimated at around $1 million USD, enough to maintain a simple life and focus on rebuilding family bonds after many years of pain and tension. The Tragedies and Legacies of the Last of the Mohicans, 1992, cast leave behind not only unforgettable characters, but also haunting true stories. What do you think about these destinies? Feel free to share your thoughts and help spread their stories by liking, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell today.